Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Archangel Ministries. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, but first, before I do that, let me open up and thank all of our supporters, people who have donated, the monthly subscriptions, stuff like that. Because of your help and the resources you provided us with, we were able to rescue a girl that had been kidnapped by terrorists in the Middle East about a week ago. Maybe a week and a half. Either way, she's safe, she's secure, and we've got her in a secure, safe environment with our team, and we're currently working on raising the funds to relocate not just her, but her entire family. So, thanks to you guys for supporting us so we could actually make that happen. Now, having said that, today's video is going to be a bit different. If any of you guys have been watching and keeping up with what's going on, Israel and all that stuff, which I don't get into the politics behind it or anything else. God can do with Israel what God wants to do with the nation of Israel, and he can do with his people as he wants to do with his people. We're part of that. So, political stuff, all that, I'm not going to get into it. However, it has raised a clear and present danger to us here in America because of our government's involvement in what's going on. And our threat level has increased. So having said that, we have to take the possibility of sleeper cells being activated in America rather seriously, on top of anything else our own government and their shadiness might be up to. So today we are going to discuss get home bags, supplies, things that you may need in them. However, I am more focused on urban survival rather than rural, simply because I am contracted in and actually live in a major city. So that's what we're going to discuss today. And I'll pull up a map here in a second of a couple of major cities, and we will run some very basic navigation type aspects, and gathering basic informant, intel stuff, gang areas, things of that nature. And then we'll break down what I keep in my personal get home bag, and then we will go from there, and we will also discuss the med kit in a little bit more in depth. Alright guys, so stay tuned, and we're going to knock that out real quick. Okay guys, so as the video said, we're going to talk about how to build your get home bag for urban survival, or at least how to play the scenario out. Alright, first and foremost, my car is an asset. I'm going to use it to get as far as I can. Then once everything is blocked or gridlocked where I can't use my car and it's not operational, then I will resort to actually grabbing my go bag and hitting the trail. Okay? Now, having said that, you guys know me. You know that I am a security contractor by trade. It's what I do. But I'm also a survivor, and so I incorporate all the training and stuff that I've been through in order to adapt, improvise, and overcome whatever situation I'm being put in. Now, what you see on the table before you, not all this gear is going to make the cut if I have to hot-foot it. If I have to abandon my vehicle and go on foot, not all this gear is coming. And I'll tell you why. Stealth and being the gray man, blending in, that is going to be what secures me on the way home. Okay? I want to get by and cut through the city and get to wooded areas and make my way to my house with as little impact as possible. Is it a guarantee? No. So some of this stuff will go into the actual bag that we have there, but not all of it. And I will give you an example. For one, my plate carrier, not going to come. Why? Because it makes me stand out like a sore thumb. I can't conceal it. I can't hide it. However, what I can do is I can take my spare mags, I can put them in my thigh rig, and I can put those in my backpack just in case I need them. You copy that? Okay. My rifle, going with me. The reason why I'm choosing this particular gun is because I can break it apart and it will fit my backpack perfectly concealed, and all I have to do is pull it out, attach it, and it's quick deploy, ready to go. Alright?
My duty belt, not going to come. Not unless I strip the mag pouches off of it and put my concealment holster on. That way the gun, the mags, they can come with me. But the belt itself is most likely going to be rolled up, tucked into my backpack, or abandoned with the vehicle. I have extras. It'll be fine. Now, what's really important is having the materials you need to get home. Me, I work in Memphis, Tennessee, and the contracts that I work are often at the farthest end, close to the river. So that leaves me an entire city that I either have to bypass or cut through. Now, my first option with my vehicle is I'm going to try my best to get on one of the lesser used roads and bypass Memphis, taking the long way around in order to get back to my home in case of an emergency. But that's not always a feasible option. So there are certain essentials and supplies that I'm going to need in order to make things happen and ensure my survival long enough to make it home to my wife and for us to actually get to our fallback location. All right? We've already talked about guns. We've talked about ammo. But there's other things that I'm going to need to get me through. First off, we got to have hydration. So, I'm sporting this. This is a Sport Berkey. It's a water bottle. It's got a built-in filtration system. That way, whatever water I come across, I can still use it. It can be done. Now, granted, you want to look and smell. You want to do a smell test. And you want to look. If there's any traces of oil or anything like that, you got to pass it up. It's not good. But dirty water, I don't care if it's from the sidewalk, mud puddle, pond, river, whatever, fresh water, that can be done through this. Now, if I'm still iffy about the water, we have these. All right? These are cleansing tablets for your drinking water. Always good to have that. Now, for my equipment and stuff, there's also certain fallbacks I want to have in place. I want to ensure that I have access to my cell phone if the towers are working. Although, unless I absolutely need to use it, it's going to stay in a Faraday bag, just in case. My flashlights, optics, things of that nature. I need to make sure that I have extra batteries and a way to charge all of this equipment. So, I carry an extra charger with me. I'm going to carry an actual charge kit for my batteries, just in case it's needed, which these things are lightweight. They don't take up any room, so that's the only reason why I'm even including them. Apart from that, you're going to need a way to do a makeshift shelter should it become necessary. So, I will be taking this heavier duty thermal blanket. That way, if I have to get my field craft on, I have something that I can put on the inside of it to help keep my thermal signature down and keep my actual body heat and stuff trapped in. We also have another smaller emergency thermal blanket. Something I can cover up with. Okay? Fire starting materials. Butane torch lighter. Those are great. I also keep extra matches, although these will be kept in a waterproof container just in case. Alright, now one of the other questions is, alright, if I'm having to leave work and do this, if I have to hot-foot it, am I not going to stick out like a sore thumb? And the answer is yes. That's the reason why we have this right here. This is a change of clothes. Plain black shirt, blue jeans, dry socks if I need them. And since winter is upon us, we also have thermals that are going to go in the bag, just in case they're necessary. But that's not all that we need, okay? You also have to have something to sustain yourself during your travel. Now, there's a few hacks to this. You could actually get away with some bread and some peanut butter, or maybe not bread, but like tortilla shells and some peanut butter. That's enough to get you through. That's enough calorie intake that you can do that's going to sustain you. However, for someone like me, that causes all sorts of problems, acid reflux and stuff like that. I don't know what it is about peanut butter that does it, but for some reason it does. So I have to go with another option. Or I have to carry extra medication to handle that problem should that arise. I'd rather not do that. So I take these, the StarKist Chunk Light Tuna. I really like these because sometimes you can get them on sale at Kroger for like $1 a piece. So it makes good sense to have a stockpile of these. If the situation is bad enough and I think that it may take me more than, 3 or 4 hours for me to hot foot it back to my house, because you guys got to remember, I live outside of the city. And I chose this location because it's going to take longer for the degradation in the city to find its way out to me. So it's going to take me a little bit longer to hot foot it to my place than it would someone that lives over in the Bartlett area or, one of the other small suburbs of Memphis, or even inside the city. They can get there pretty quick. I can't. So if I'm having to hot foot it, I could be looking at 5 to 6 hours, as long as I don't run into complications or problems. But if I do, I have to escape, I have to evade, and that adds time onto the clock. So I have to make sure that I can handle these things. So usually I treat it almost as if I'm going camping, and I will carry a 72-hour food kit with me. And this also gives me the benefit of, if something happens and I come across someone, I might can use some of this food that I have to barter with them. Because we're not going to be the only ones that are affected, okay? However, by me having that, I have to make sure that I have access to two things. One is going to be water. Again, that is going to be very necessary. That's the reason why I keep extra packs of water, extra cases, in my car so I can load up before I roll out, because I don't know if or when I'm going to be able to stop and get more water. Another thing that this ensures that I will have to carry with me is a mess kit. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, decent small little mess kit, just enough for you to cook your own personal meals in. You're good to go. Okay? Now, one of the things that every single bag needs, you need an IFAK kit. Or at the very least, a med kit, okay? And that's what's in this bag. So once we get inside, I will break everything down, and I will show you what all's in this kit, and talk about what is necessary and why it is necessary. Okay, guys, one more thing that we have to consider, all right? Well, actually, two more things. First off, what if the bank system is down, right? But you still have access to your vehicle. If you have to stop at a gas station, or if you have to try and run into a market or something real quick to re-up on supplies quickly, your debit card isn't going to work in that instance. So, what do we have for that? We have these. These are 1 ounce silver coins. This is for barter. This is for trade. This is for things that we need. If you got to fuel up your car, bank cards don't work, people will take silver. They will also take gold. However, silver leaves less of an imprint, and, well, let's face it, gold is really, really expensive. I mean, $2,000 an ounce. Come on, silver's at least obtainable for most people, so that's why we're going with this. All right, another thing that we want to talk about that will be in my go bag is going to be a hatchet. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, why do you need that? Well, in an urban environment, you never know what you're going to come across. If I have to escape and evade, and the only way I have access into a building where I can hide from the people pursuing me has a padlock or something on it, then this hatchet here is going to do the job. This is meant for urban survival. I have a pry bar here, very sharp axe head, but instead of a spike or something, I have a mallet end on the end of this hatchet, which means I can cause blunt force to a lock or a door or a window or something that I need to in order to gain access to a facility without risking injury to myself. Okay? All right, now, here in a second, I'm going to show you how my loadout looks while it's actually in my vehicle. And then we're going to go back inside and we're going to discuss mapping out your area, intel gathering, and actually navigating your course back to your house. Okay guys, this is going to be kind of the basic layout of how I keep my vehicle set up, with a couple of exceptions. First off, my gun belt and my actual sidearm are almost always in the front seat. Alright? However, the rest of my equipment is normally stowed away back here unless I'm running a detail where I need to have super fast access to it. In which case, the way we set that up is like this right here. Now, you can get these kits several different places, but I highly recommend them. I thoroughly love and enjoy mine. It gives me a way to mount all of my equipment where it's quick and easy access in case of an emergency. You know, I have extra mag pouches, mount for my rifle or shotgun or whatever the contract calls for. My hatchet goes here, med kit, extra ammunition pouch. And then over there, I actually have another IFAK kit that is complete with a pneumothorax needle and everything else that I could possibly need for that type of an event. As a matter of fact, I actually have another one in this med pack right here, which we're going to go over once we get back inside. All right, so having said that, this is just kind of a basic layout. Everyone can kind of mix and match, do their own thing. If you guys need help or want to find one of these, that actually fits on your seat, the mole kit and everything, reach out to me and I will send you links. I will try to get it together before this video is uploaded, but given time, I want to have this video uploaded tonight, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that, so we'll see. I'm going to pull up this map of Atlanta, and this is just going to be a brief rundown, okay? This is just to establish routes, how to decide, that kind of stuff, your basic navigation. Now, Atlanta's kind of a hot spot. We all know about the gang activities, the murders, stuff like that takes place there. Not too dissimilar from where I live. But I'm not going to expose my personal strategies and plans on here, for security purposes. So let's have a look at Atlanta, okay? In Atlanta, a place that I've been to many, many times, you have a massive downtown area with very few actual woodland type areas. So this is a true urban environment that you're going to have to navigate through. Now, let's say you live in one of the outliers. Let's say you live in Darraville here, correct? And something has taken place. Power grid's down, things like that. Natural disaster, terrorist attack on the infrastructure, something along those lines, right? Well, the cops are going to be hot-footing it to wherever the disaster area is, and they're going to be overloaded, so they're going to be pretty much ineffective. Same thing with emergency services, fire department, ambulance service, things of that nature. So you live out here in Darraville, right? Let's say your job is right here at the core. You're in the downtown area, correct? Well, in such an event, especially in a grid down type event, you got to understand that power's gone, then traffic's going to be gridlocked. You're going to have to abandon your vehicle and find a way to hot-foot it back to your house. Now, it may not look like it's a significant distance, but that's more than enough distance for you to cover. That's going to take you a few hours at minimum, and that's if you hot-foot it and don't run into any kind of problems. The issue is that with a grid down type scenario or a mass casualty event, all the cops, all the ambulance services, stuff like that are going to be in the hot zone. The gangs are going to take opportunity of this. You're going to see rival gangs hitting other gangs. You're going to see looting. You're going to see rioting. It's going to be mass pandemonium. The average time span for a city to completely deteriorate is, last time I checked, somewhere around 16 hours or so. So you've got about a 6-hour window to get from where you're at here back to your safe haven and then assemble your bug out or extraction or however you're going to do it.
So that's the reason why we were talking about, the urban type survival, the get home bags, correct? And that's the reason why I have certain elements in mind, because I don't know how long this is going to take. Because the rioting and looting most likely will be contained in the downtown area, but there's stores and population centers and neighborhoods and stuff all throughout this area. So first thing you want to do is you're going to want to know where the gang zones are most active. What gangs claim what turfs, what territory. You're also going to want intel on where any sort of riots, protests, or looting are taking place. And you're going to want to avoid those areas. So, for example, let's say you work in this little hub right here, off 29, right? You have to hotfoot it all the way up here to the Dareville area. Odds of you making it in your car are going to be very slim. You might get a certain ways. Let's say if you are monitoring the radio, something has happened, and you leave immediately, assuming the grid isn't down. Then you might could hop on 29 and start to make your way up this way. However, there's no guarantee that you're not going to eventually get to a spot where everything's gridlocked and you're going to have to abandon your vehicle. If that's the case, what is the best route you're going to take? I recommend side streets, low streets, staying by the river that runs up through here. Because where the river is, there's going to be hopefully some woodlands and stuff like that you can take shelter in. You may find abandoned houses or possibly even abandoned buildings that you can take place for refuge. You're wanting a route that is going to allow you to, one, blend in with the other people that are out there, so you can utilize the gray man type mentality where you can blend in. But what happens if gang members mark you out and they're predating you? Well, then that's the reason why we have the change of clothes in our bag. That way we can duck into a side place, a building, a batch of brush, something like that, and change our outfits, put on a hat, change your appearance, right? That way you can get lost in the crowd again, and hopefully they won't pick you back up. But if they do, then that's the reason why we have our pistol. That's the reason why we have the rifle or the reason why I would have my rifle. It's completely up to you what you want to carry. I'm not very familiar with what the laws and regulations are in the state of Georgia, especially in the Atlanta area as far as firearms stuff are concerned. So you guys are going to have to do some research on your area based on what, the city and stuff that you're in. I'm just trying to help you figure out the best ways to avoid detection and plan a route to get back to your place. So, like I said, even if it's a grid down and you have to hotfoot it out of the downtown area, then the best circuitous route that I would take is, this looks like railroads that run up through here. So railroad tracks, things of that nature, blending in with the crowd. Your main goal is to get up to the river and then ferry your way across and then find this other river right here, this peach tree, and kind of follow its path up to the end by creek. Because once you do that, it's just a matter of cutting across, going under the overpass, and then going back up to your base of operations, your actual home, right? But this is something that could take a lot longer than what you're thinking. And you also have to remember that you got about a 6-hour window before things go absolutely crazy, before it gets absolutely terrible. Because after 6 hours, your chance of survival and making it through being unscathed decrease by about 10 to 15% per hour. So I recommend having a police scanner. You can get those on your cell phone. You can usually download them. They're free for the most part. And I know that I usually keep my cell phone in a Faraday bag. I would recommend you do the same, especially if you're of high interest, kind of like I am, to certain people that would like to see you eliminated. And only take it out in certain spots so you can check the scanners, check reports, see what's going on, rioting, looting. That way you can scan the areas ahead of where you're going and you know what areas to actively avoid. right? You're also going to want to look out for anything that looks shady, any sort of makeshift roadblocks, ambushes that the gangs might be running on the highways, things of that nature, and you're going to want to avoid that at all costs. Just because you have firearms and stuff doesn't mean that you're John Wick. It doesn't mean you're Jason Bourne, and the odds of you by yourself taking on that group are slim. Very, very slim. All right? It's a numbers game. They could be the worst trained people in the world, firing from the hip and just rapid, doing blind, stupid nonsense. But it's a mathematics game at that point. If you've got a group of 4 to 10 people, poorly trained, but they're all packing, even if they're just spraying and praying, then you still have a significant chance of one of those random bullets actually hitting its mark. So you want to avoid this. You want to stay in the shadows. You want to use stealth to your absolute advantage. So let's say, all right, you've managed to get off 29, you've managed to make your way up to this junction for the river here, and you're coming across 23, right? Okay, well, there's a group of rioters and stuff in this area. So you got the report, and you need to avoid this. So what you're going to do instead is either cross over the river here and go around, or you're going to have to backtrack, go up through here, find the other river, and then use it for cover and shelter on your way. And this could take a matter of hours. This could take you a day. That's the reason why I'm saying, have the food supplies, the water purification, stuff like that, because you're going to need water. Food isn't that big of an essential, simply because the human body can go 3-4 weeks, without food, but water is a necessity, so you really have to have that. And the defensive gear you have, I fully recommend a pistol, a couple of spare mags, but you're going to want it where it's concealable. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb and look like an easy mark to one of these gang members or someone that doesn't have a gun that thinks they can take yours. That's the entire purpose of being gray man, blending in. Okay? So, I said, I hope that helps out. Just as a quick tip, I'm working on producing a video about blending into an urban environment, being the gray man, so you can get to where you're going. However, Grand Thumb actually beat me to it on his channel, and the video they did is actually really good, so I recommend that. So head over to Grand Thumb's channel. I think it's the last video they actually dropped, and check it out, because they've got a lot of solid advice, a lot of good advice on there. It differs a little bit from mine, but I'm coming from a different perspective, okay? All my stuff is based on me, my environment, where I'm at, and I want to guarantee that I get home to my wife, that I get home to my family where I can protect them and get them out further away from the city than what we already are. Because it's only going to take a matter of time for what's happening here to bleed out into here. So you always have to bear that in mind, all right, guys? Okay, so let's cover the med kit stuff real quick, and then we'll call it a day. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for making it through this video. I know it was more tedious than the ones I usually do, and I still didn't cover everything that really needs to be covered here. This is just kind of a basic, quick overview. Okay, so if there's any questions, comments, stuff like that, please leave them below, and I will do a follow-up video to this one addressing those questions and comments and trying to help you guys out to the best of my ability. So hopefully you found this information useful. Hopefully it benefits you. I'm hoping and praying that we don't have to deal with this, but with the way things are going in the world, I think there's a significant chance that we will. All right, and just so you guys know, my urban survival kit is far different than my woodland survival kit, for obvious reasons. And we will address that at a later date. But right now, my main focus is you guys that are trapped in like a major city or whatnot, kind of like I am. I want to give you the best edge that I can. And like I said, go and check out Grand Thumb's video on being the gray man and actually making it through an extreme urban survival type situation. He did a really good job with it. The guy puts out some really solid stuff, so go over to his channel, check that out, and then mine will be coming out hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how it goes. Depends on camera recording, time off, my work schedule. You guys know I got a lot on my plate, so I will get it to you as quickly as possible. Having said that, guys, thanks for hanging out. It's been Archangel. I'm out.